Oh my god, in prepping for this, I went back and I watched the thing that I'm about to talk about, and it still makes me well up. The moment of the generation for me is when Square Enix confirmed that we were getting the Final Fantasy VII Remake, because that means a ludicrous amount to me. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's something that I played just over and over again as a kid. Love every single one of those characters. Just love the world that they created. It's my personal favorite Final Fantasy. Obviously, there's all the debates on which one's the best one. 7 and 9 are my top two, but 7 just has a place in here that nothing else does. In E3 2015, I still remember watching that at 4 o'clock in the morning because of the time difference. I'm pretty sure it was 4:22 a.m. When Square Enix put the whole thing out, and the way that they rolled this out was this really mysterious trailer where lots of shots of sort of industrial stuff, lots of various factories and things like that, which, at the time, year by year, every E3, it was always like, oh, are they going to announce the Final Fantasy VII Remake? Because we had the teaser, we had the tech demo on the PS3, they were originally going to do one back in the very early 2000s, and it never happened. And so when every E3, it's always one of those things, is it going to happen? Are we going to get a Final Fantasy VII Remake? And so when this teaser trailer started, I didn't really know what it was, but it's the bit at the end. It's the last sort of minute or so of the trailer where that piece of music comes in, and you'll know exactly what it is if you're a Final Fantasy VII fan. And the voiceover over the top just talks about giving it a chance, just saying that, they are returning as we see Cloud's Buster Sword and Barret, and they walk through the crowd of Midgar. And it's confirmed, and it comes up and says remake, and it's just, it's insane that we got that, and the final game is brilliant. You can see my review on the site. Obviously, I think there's a lot of stuff to talk about with that game in regards to how much they changed it, just how many things were then passed out to do multiple releases and stuff like that. But they nailed the most important thing. They nail the feel of being back in Midgar, this sort of weird steampunk, cyberpunk crossover place where all this East meets West type stuff can happen. And the music is just one of the most treasured parts of that whole project. So yeah, if it's just full on wide-eyed heart emojis, hearts in my eyes, what blew me away, it was staying up till 4:22 a.m. in the morning and realizing that Final Fantasy VII Remake was real.
Okay, so for my favorite gaming memory of the generation, we have to go all the way back to early 2016. Now, I was really, really looking forward to Rainbow Six Siege when it was first teased. I thought that first teaser was amazing. It was so cool, even if it was cringily heavily scripted in the Ubisoft style. And then the game had the beta, and the beta wasn't very good. And then it came to launch, and I didn't bother checking it out, which is a shame because I was really looking forward to a new Rainbow Six game, even if it wasn't the Rainbow Six that I had, grown accustomed to over the years. Now, a few months later, after Rainbow Six Siege releases, it takes a massive price drop. I think it came down from £40 to about 20. And in the space of a few months, that's a pretty big deal. So me and my mates at uni were like, you know what? Let's all get it. Let's all take the Rainbow Six plunge. And we did. And we got it just after the second DLC came out, which introduced Blackbeard and Valkyrie. And oh my god, it then went on to become my most played PlayStation 4 game. I've sunk hundreds of hours, I think, would probably be apt into that title, which is ridiculous. I've never really done that with a video game before, except maybe Skyrim. And yeah, what can I say about Rainbow Six Siege? I've talked about it so much on this channel, from how much I love it to its many quirks and faults that have kind of turned me off it, and then I come back to it. And as I say this right now, I have literally just got back into this game. Yeah, Rainbow Six Siege, you won't find an FPS game like it on consoles now. I'm not going to say that there aren't other, hero-based shooters on the market. Obviously there are, and Overwatch could have easily laid a claim for being my other favourite PlayStation, memory of the generation, because I sunk lots of hours into that game too. But for Rainbow Six Siege specifically, I had such a great time playing that with my friends that it's by far the most defining game for me of this generation. And in a good way as well, because it is a genuinely fun, good game to play. You won't find a more gratifying shooter, I don't think. at least to me on consoles. And yes, I know people are going to say it's much better to play it on PC, and to be honest, you're probably right, because the console version is full of so many people who have mouse and keyboard emulators that make ranked a really hard time to play, which is a shame, and that's not me complaining. I genuinely am good at the game, just saying. But yeah, Rainbow Six Siege, what an amazing game from Ubi, for a generation that has completely blighted them as a studio. They do deserve praise for what they did to Siege and how they made it work, and who would have thought that Rainbow Six would be one of the most popular shooters in the world? That's crazy to think of, and yet that is true right now. It's one of the most played games on console and on PC. And yeah, here's hoping the PlayStation 5, it goes from strength to strength on that too, because the only way is up. I do think it's time for a little refresh. I do think they'd probably be wise to do a Rainbow Six sequel and maybe iron out the kinks that they have in this current game, and actually give us a proper, Tom Clancy style single player story as well, because we're all desperate for that too. But that aside, such a great game. Ubi are constantly improving it, and yeah, my most definitive game of the generation and my happiest gaming memory is playing so many hours of that title until stupid hours in the morning when I should have been really working on my dissertation. But there we go. Rainbow Six Siege, great game, you should all go play it.
So when it comes to memories of the gaming generation, I have a few, but a lot of my favourite ones have to do with Raccoon City. So I was going through and I was playing Resident Evil 2, and out of all the Resident Evil games, apart from maybe Resi 5 that I played to death, but not in like an unlockables way, just because I enjoyed it. It was a silly, funny game. And Resident Evil 2 is the only one that I really invested a lot of time in through. I went into it as Leon, I went through that, I went through as Claire, and I just wanted to try and go through and unlock everything that I could. And a game has never really done that to me before, apart from maybe thinking of maybe Dishonored after I've played it a billion times and trying to go through and get all these unlockables and collectibles. Resident Evil 2 was the only Resi game that I was really like, yeah, I've done this. I'm going to go through and get all these different unlockables and collectibles, but also the fact that they did the Ghost Survivor modes. I really enjoyed the story of Resident Evil 2, and knowing that there was these extra modes and this alternate reality that you could do, I loved it. And I was managing to go through, we managed to tag team and get through Hunk mode, which God knows how we did that, but it's something that we are incredibly proud of. But going through on my own and trying to do the Ghost Survivor challenges and doing really well. I've managed to do 2 of them so far. I've got 2 more to do, but I'm really proud of myself, because those sort of things are not things that I'm usually good at, being strategical with things. I'm just kind of go through the story, but managing to kind of get these little tactics and make my way through, and knowing that you have to shoot someone in a certain way or dodge at a certain time, I was doing good, and I was managing to get through and unlock things that actually, the unlockables that you get from Ghost Survivors are really good. They're either really stupid, funny masks that make the game hilarious, or things like the cat ears, which give you unlimited ammo, which is just the best thing that you can get in a video game that requires you to hunt for ammo. So yeah, I'm really proud of myself, and let's just say that I will carry on doing these challenges until I unlock everything that I can. And Resi, you did that to me, so thank you. Shout out to Kendra.